There are roles in families that nobody announces out loud. You just grow into them. My sister Laura was the organizer. The one who chose restaurants, planned birthdays, picked wine, sent group messages about reservations. She liked things structured and polished. People admired that about her. My role was simpler. I was the flexible one. The one who could figure something out if there weren't enough seats. The one who arrived after work and didn't mind standing for a while. The one who never made a moment awkward by asking why something had been arranged the way it was. For years, I thought that meant I was easygoing. Later I realized it mostly meant I was convenient. 2. Laura's 40th birthday dinner was held at a restaurant that required reservations weeks in advance. Long wooden tables, candlelight. The kind of place where the servers describe ingredients in careful detail. The group chat had mentioned the dinner, but the message had come late in the thread after several logistics discussions that had already happened without me. Still, I went. I arrived a little after everyone else, because work had run long. Through the window I could see the table already full, wine glasses everywhere, menus folded neatly beside each plate. When I walked in, Laura smiled the quick polite smile people use when they're slightly surprised someone showed up. "Oh," she said, glancing around the table. There was a small pause. Then she grabbed an extra napkin and pointed toward a narrow stool pushed against the wall at the end of the table. "We didn't count you when we ordered." The way she said it was casual, like it was a small scheduling oversight. Her husband Mark laughed lightly and added, "You should be grateful you're even here." It landed like a joke that wasn't really a joke. A few people looked down at their plates. No one corrected them. I took the stool. It sat slightly lower than the chairs, which meant the table edge reached almost to my chest. My knees angled awkwardly toward the wall. For a while no one noticed. Conversation continued around me about vacations and schools and which wine tasted better. Eventually one of the servers realized there was an extra person and quietly brought another place setting. A dish appeared a few minutes later, something that had probably been meant as a shared appetizer. I ate it slowly. Not because I was savoring it, because suddenly I was paying attention. Not just to the moment, to the pattern. When you sit slightly outside something, you see it differently. I noticed how easily people turned their bodies toward Laura when they spoke, how Mark poured wine for everyone except me until the server refilled my glass. None of it was hostile. That was the strange part. It was just normal. And that was when memories started rearranging themselves. The wedding reception where my seat had been at a small side table with distant cousins. The holiday dinner where an extra chair had been pulled from another room because the seating chart hadn't included me. The quiet comments. "You're easy, you don't mind. You're the flexible one." At the time those things had seemed harmless. But sitting on that stool, I understood something simple. Flexibility had become expectation. The dinner grew louder as the evening went on. Bottles of wine appeared. Someone made a toast about Laura turning 40 and still organizing everyone's lives. People clapped. Laura laughed and brushed her hair behind her ear in the same way she had since we were teenagers. From the outside, the night looked successful. Dessert came with a small chocolate cake and a candle. Everyone sang. Phones came out for photos. After the plates were cleared, the waiter approached holding a leather folder. He paused beside the table, scanning the group in the subtle way servers do when they're trying to decide who the host is. For a moment his eyes landed on me, maybe because I was closest to the aisle, maybe because I wasn't mid-conversation. Before I could say anything, Laura glanced at me and gave a small shrug. The waiter placed the folder in front of me. Inside was the total, just under $4,000. For a second I simply looked at the number. Not shocked, just aware. Around the table, conversation continued as if the next step had already been decided somewhere without discussion. It was the same quiet assumption that had shaped the seat, the napkin, the stool. I closed the folder. Then I slid it gently back across the table toward Laura. "I wasn't invited," I said. My voice came out calm, almost conversational. "Remember?" The sentence didn't sound dramatic, but the effect was immediate. Conversation slowed, then stopped. The waiter remained standing beside us, politely neutral. Laura looked at the folder like it had been placed there by mistake. Mark leaned forward and opened it again. The total was still the same. For the first time that evening, the table looked slightly disorganized. People reached for their phones. Someone began calculating portions. Glasses shifted. Responsibility moved. Quietly, but unmistakably, the waiter waited. Eventually Laura took the folder. "Let's just split it," she said. Dinner ended a little earlier than expected. People hugged goodbye in the parking lot, though the mood had changed in a way no one mentioned. A few days later my phone buzzed with messages. One cousin said the seating thing had been uncomfortable and probably shouldn't have happened. Another said I could have handled the bill more generously. Laura didn't call, but the next family gathering invitation came with a small detail that had never appeared before. A screenshot of the reservation. My name included. 2. The strange thing is, nothing dramatic changed after that. Laura still plans most of the events. Mark still makes the same kind of jokes, but whenever I arrive now, there is always a seat already set. Not improvised, not borrowed mine, and the quiet understanding behind it feels less like an apology and more like the first time the family structure adjusted to include me instead of expecting me to adjust to it.